Dungeon Scrawl is a new in-browser free dungeon map maker that allows you to draw professional Dungeons & Dragons maps in minutes. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to use it and how to upload your dungeon maps to Roll20 for your online D&D campaign. Here we go. Hi, Bob here, and welcome to Bob World Builder, where we learn together how to have more fun playing D&D. So hit that subscribe button for weekly DM guides and D&D reviews like this one. And this is not a paid promotion for Dungeon Scrawl. I just really wanted to make a video about this tool because I genuinely think it's a fantastic map maker for dungeon masters that will change your D&D games for the better. But if you happen to be the creator and want to sponsor me in the future, let me know. Now seriously, for a quick comparison, here's a map from the official 5e campaign, Ghost of Saltmarsh. And here's a version that I made in about 15 minutes using Dungeon Scrawl. Being mostly symmetrical helped a lot, and I'm in no way encouraging you to plagiarize anyone's maps. But I am in every way encouraging you to optimize your session prep using Dungeon Scrawl, and by watching this video about the basics of D&D session prep, also linked in the description. As of filming this video, Dungeon Scrawl has only been around for a month or two, and it's being updated very regularly. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you everything I've learned in the past few weeks to get you started, and if I make future videos about it, I'll also link them down in the description. Now let's dive in. Okay, so here we are at the Dungeon Scrawl homepage. If we clicked right here in the center to run the scrawler, that's what it would do, and we could get started right away. But first, let's jump down and just see our little summary. Old School Maps in Minutes. Dungeon Scrawl is a mapping tool developed by Kier, aka Probable Terrain, aims to be an easy-to-grasp tool with a high skill ceiling, empowering artists by automatically taking care of the most time-consuming stuff. Thanks to the overwhelming support from Patreon and elsewhere, he's able to release it for free for everyone. Enjoy scrawling. Really great stuff. It shows off some of the preset styles. We will dive into them a little more closely once we get into the program itself. Talks about the user interface, ways to export. Specifically, we will be looking at this virtual tabletop compatibility and not this Donjon compatibility. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I've tried to use Donjon in the past, the maps do just come out so random and odd that it doesn't make sense to me. So I guess importing them into here and editing them could work really well, but this tool is so easy to use, you may as well just draw your own map. That's kind of how I feel about it. Image import, so you can drag in your own assets or even a map if you wanted to trace something. Brush tools, layers, we're going to talk about all this stuff. Isometric, that's one that we're going to kind of save to the end of the video because I don't necessarily love it, but the rest of this tool makes it totally fine. So let's scroll back up and dive right in. Shows us our updates, and the last one here is July 31st. So it's really being updated all the time. Got a new preset, looks like a spaceship. Cool. Click anywhere to get right in, and it starts us off with, you might be able to see that little blue dot by my mouse, and if I click somewhere, drag, I'm drawing a dungeon already. It's really that easy. But before we get into the tools themselves, we're going to look at maybe how we could start in the presets. So you can load a saved file, or save a saved file, and you can import a saved file as a new layer on a map that you're working on. And this is also where we're going to go to export and see those options toward the end of this video before we get into the Roll20 bits. But we would want to start out by checking our presets. We have black and white. There's one with a grassy terrain, isometric, which we'll get to, inverted hatching, and I don't know what that is yet, so we'll probably not look at that one. But then there are these other just simple presets of the default black and white, tunnels, classic, you know, that blue and white, what is it, Keep on the Borderlands, OD&D map, or first edition? Man, my history's way off. Let's just get into this tool. So, to demonstrate just how easy this is to use, I want to just draw a map, and I'm going to have this time lapse so you don't have to sit there for the whole 5 or so minutes that it'll take, but just to show you how quick and easy this actually is to use. So here we go. Okay, and while this is going, I wanted to thank all the Bob World Builder patrons who make this content possible. This channel is my primary source of income right now due to COVID, so the support really means a lot. And our Patreon is a great community where every month we vote on a topic for an adventure supplement and design an NPC, then I make it and publish it for patrons only. Patrons also get a monthly podcast, and depending on your tier, you can get behind the scenes videos, your name in all my written publications, your name at the end of my videos, and even one-on-one monthly hangouts with me to talk about D&D or literally anything. And hey, maybe you're in a situation like myself where you can't really commit to a Patreon right now. You can still help the channel in a big way just by liking this video, sharing it with your Dungeoneering friends, subscribing to the channel, and by using our brand new Amazon affiliate store linked in the description to buy all your D&D gear, or literally anything as long as you use those links. Okay, so it took me about 5 minutes to make this. I could have went a little longer if I got really into the details of the images, but hopefully that showed off some of the tools from an overview, and now we will break into what these different tools can do. First, let's zoom out just by using our mouse wheel. We can just wheel it back. And then what I can do is hold space and just move my mouse. I don't have to click anything to pan. I'm just gonna delete the image layer. Am I sure? Heck yeah. Now we're in shape. So if I click in the upper corner, I can draw a rectangle and erase everything. I don't have to. I can erase like portions of it. And you can also use this tool to create like walls essentially by taking out gaps. And you can erase with any of the tools. That's just what it looks like with a rectangle. So rectangle tool, you've seen, it's very simple. You can use it to draw rooms and hallways. What I love about it is it shows you exactly the dimensions while you're drawing it. So it's really easy to create rooms that way, especially if you are trying to mimic a room that's in a pre-made supplement or something. Our advanced settings for the rectangle aren't very advanced. You can make it not snap to corners, and you can change where it snaps. So I do like to have this on 1-to-1, so it'll only go to corners. Instead of when it's on 1/2, you're gonna end up drawing some rooms that'll be kind of like this, for example, where, okay, we have one full square in this room, especially if you're drawing a hallway. You don't want to draw a hallway like this with a line down the center, because then when you pull this into Roll20, your tokens are gonna be hanging out halfway out of each hallway. Path tool. This is what you're going to be using, or what I find myself to be using a lot. Not only can you change the radius of the path, so 1 means just one cell. I like to have it on 1/2 when I'm drawing with the path, so that way it allows you to draw a actual like 1 diameter cell path, just to show you what that looks like and what I mean. There you go. And if I just click and pull, I can draw a straight path, double click to end it, or I can hold to draw a squiggly path, and you can also draw rooms like this. Very neat, right? One of the other things you can do with the path is make it rough. So let's just draw a path. Then when I let go, it starts showing me this line, and the length of that line corresponds to how rough the outline of that path is going to be. And let's turn off roughing. And last one here we can see is cap around. So all of these have had a round end, but you can have it rectangular if you want to draw hallways with it. And and that reminds me, one other thing you can do with the rectangle is hit join rectangles. So then if I draw a rectangle right next to my first one here, interesting, maybe because I didn't have join on when I drew the first one, it didn't work. But now if I join a rectangle next to it, it'll automatically combine them. And you can always just draw over previous ones, whether or not you have that join on, to connect things. So let's turn that back off. You can also make a curved path by just clicking some points here. So that's pretty handy as well. You know, this is getting a little messy. I'm gonna delete this and start a new layer. Cool. Our irregular polygon tool. You just click as many points as you want. Okay, I did that a little too fast, but you can click as many points as you want. Okay, for some reason it's cutting off my polygons there. There you go, and you should end on a double click. Regular polygon, you create the center and then drag out. I had last clicked 0 on my keyboard, so that left me with a 0-sided polygon, but I can do 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 to make different shapes. And if we go into our settings for the polygon, we can change the number of size. So if for some reason you need a 13-sided polygon, you got it. We have our wall tool. which works a lot like the irregular polygon where you can just click a bunch of points, double click to end it. Similarly, we have the door where you just click, drag, and then click once again to end the door. You can make double doors by putting them right next to each other. You can make a door really as long as you want, I think. And in the settings, you can change how they look. Stair tool. If I click, that creates my first point, just like everything else. Click again to create either the base or top of your stairs, depending on how you want to draw it. If you have it further away, you can make your stairs wider. Finally, our mirror tool. I'm going to zoom out for this. You just click, and then I can rotate this line however I want. And when I click, it'll just see whichever side has the most stuff. At this point, I don't think you can really choose which side you want to copy. Let me undo that so I can get rid of, oh yeah, undo, Control Z, very helpful tool. But see, if I do it over here, I think it's going to copy everything on the left side of my screen over to the right. Yeah. Ooh, it ended up with like a weird mustachioed face right here, I feel like. Interesting. Anyway, final tool. So I'm going to zoom way in on this triangle, and now I just click the select tool. So I can draw around this triangle, and yeah, that didn't seem to work. So let me try the polygon. Yeah, that worked. So now I have highlighted this triangle. I can hit Control C, Control V to paste, and then I can kind of click down wherever I want it to go. And you can also press R and then spin, but then you click again to paste. And those are pretty much all the basic tools. So let's delete, make a new one just for simplicity. And with this, I'll show you some of the fine tuning if you wanted to make your own styles instead of one of those presets. We're on our dungeon layer. So if I click the background color up here, it gives me a whole schema of the color it was on, kind of a yellow. I can make it blue, pink, red, whatever I want, and then change the hues. I can change the color of the line. I can change the width of that outline. I can change it to a dotted line if for some reason I wanted that. I can change how rough that line is. You can turn off the hatching. You can invert the hatching. You can change the shadow, that slight little edge there you might have noticed. And then you can make it wider. You can change the angle. You can change the grid of your squares by making them more or less squiggly. You can change the color of the line. You can change how wide the lines are. And this is kind of an odd feature, so let's go to that in a second. First, let's go to our background where we have the same thing. You can change the color, showing the grid or not, so you might just want to turn it off, what color those grid lines are and how wide they are. And here's where you can make it into a hex map if you wanted to. All right, that's getting really hard to see though. I'm going to open up a preset. So if I go to the background, we can change what our hatching is like. So you can make those lines more or less dense. You can change their size, the lines shorter or longer. And you can change the radius away from your stroke lines. And you can change the width of those strokes. And finally, you can change the shadow around your hex as well to make that bigger and darker or lighter if you want. So the other feature that was available there on the dungeon under extra is, I guess, where you would import from Donjon. Again, I haven't tried that yet. And you can also do this weird thing where it just generates a maze. It's cool, but I find that it does this thing I don't like where all of our hallways are split. And so we have this line down the middle. Your tokens would just be like oddly positioned here if you're using this online. Anyway, now go to one of our simple presets again. Oh, and one more thing to show off here is let me add a dungeon layer. I draw this big rectangle on it. So say this is like the second floor of this dungeon. I can change how transparent that is. So I can work easily between the two. And you can easily hide layers by just clicking that eye. So then I could export this as just this layer, but let's just keep the whole dang thing and show you how to export. And then we'll get into our isometric map. So export under file comes out at 70 pixels per cell. You can adjust that, but that's the default for Roll20 as well. And I'm just going to use the recommended rectangle download. You can download everything on the screen. You can download it in layers as a zip file, or you can do this PDF to print out on multiple pages. But the rectangle is super easy. Let's check it out. You click, you draw a rectangle, and then before I click, watch the lower left of my screen. Bingo. instantly downloads it and named it 23 by 18. So that's the exact dimensions of my rectangle. So now let's hop over to Roll20. Okay, so here we are in Roll20 now. You can see that this is a map I made for my Patreon campaign not too long ago. It's the first one I made in Dungeon Scrawl, so kind of simplistic, but it was a cavern, so it did the job quite well. But let's hop over to a brand new map. Oh, and what's this? Like and subscribe? Yeah, so if you're finding this video valuable and want to see more stuff like it, make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and maybe share it with a friend while you're at it. All that stuff really does help. So go to our map layer, go to our catalog, hit upload, and now from my recent downloads, just gonna drag this right in. Takes a second to load in Roll20. There it is. Drag it onto the map. And I know this thing is 23 by 18. So now I go to my page settings for Roll20, 23, 18. I just changed the width of this page, and then I can just stretch it out, and it fits perfectly over my grid. So now if I go back to my object layer, I can pull in one of our characters here, Arson Gage, and he's gonna fit right in all the squares. And this is why I'm saying, like, look down here at the bottom, where we have one of these like half squares. So that's why I like that single cell pathway. All right, and another thing I forgot before we get into that isometric map is adding an image layer. So over here you can see the assets I started to select were from Axebane. Click, and then just click wherever I want them to go. Then now what I found is it's kind of like stuck on my mouse and I don't know how to get it off. So I just click on the dungeon layer and then go back to the image layer. So I can click it, change the size, rotate. So there's a lot of preloaded stuff in here. You can select from different artists as well. In any case, now, perhaps the moment you've been waiting for, isometric map. Looks really neat, right? What they have set up here. If I want to continue this path, I can easily draw my rectangle out. Let's get a full edge. Then I have to click on my sides layer, make sure I'm overlapping. And now it doesn't just create a nice vertical line for me. Have it go that way as well, and then draw a wall. And then I use my polygon tool to erase. And you can get the sense that then drawing stairs in an isometric way is just even more complicated. So let me know down in the comments what you think of Dungeon Scrawl, and remember to check out my session prep video here on your screen for a little refresher on the basics. Thank you to Son of a Man for joining Patreon this week. Thank you for watching and all your support, and keep building.